Hello, my name is Dwight Hutchison, and I am the author of several books and articles about the Star of Bethlehem. And I really do believe that there was a star and real magi, and they actually met the young King Jesus when he was just a child, and we've explored that in other videos. Now, today's video is in part 11 of my series about the Star of Bethlehem. And this is not going to be so much about the star as it is about dating some of these things. We already looked at some dating things in earlier videos, but today is about Daniel chapter 9 again. We just did a previous video about Daniel 9. Now this time we're going to talk about the prophecy in the book of Daniel about the 70 weeks, or the 77s, as one can also translate the text, and concerning years. In the previous video we looked at days and weeks that seem to be symbolically involved with these 77s. And now today we're going to look at the 77s in respect to years. And I think that the 77s are also involved in months. It seems like the prophecy is actually referring to things that are with all these different measurements of time. And you know, the heavens are in relationship with time. We understand what time is because of the motion of the sun and the moon, the day and night, and the months in the nation of Israel and in Babylonia were all fixed according to the moon. And so there are so many of these things that are connected together. And today we're going to start looking at the aspect of the years and this 77's prophecy. So here we'll just read some of the text, not all of it. He says 70 weeks or 77s are determined for your people and for your holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy, or the most holy one, according to some ways of looking at it. And know therefore and understand, this is the angel Gabriel again speaking to Daniel the prophet. He says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Or 7 sevens and 62 sevens. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublesome times. And after 62 weeks, the Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end of it shall come with a flood. Now we haven't even dealt with that last verse that I started to read to you, and we won't deal with it today, but it's there as well, and there's more in addition to that. So I told you in the last video about some of my experience of discovering something linked with the cycle of Jupiter and these 7 sevens and 62 sevens, and linked with weeks and days and the actual cycle of the planet MUL.BABBAR Sedek Jupiter, that I think was the Star of Bethlehem in very specific circumstances. And and I've explained that in other videos. But today we're going to look, as I said, concerning the years and this prophecy. Now, and actually when one looks at the numbers, one could be led to believe that there's just not enough years. Because 49 years and 460 or 434 years don't make enough to put you all the way back to the time of Cyrus the Great, when he issued a command that Jerusalem be restored. And some people have developed theories that involve the prophet Nehemiah and the restoration of Jerusalem. I don't particularly hold their ideas. I did think at one time that those ideas were interesting, but I think we can go even further back to the time of Cyrus the Great, who was the first one who had anything to do with the restoration of Jerusalem and rebuilding the temple after the Babylonian exile. And that is the context in which Daniel is prophesying. Now, he is probably receiving this prophecy in the first year of the reign of Darius the Mede. And there are various ideas about Darius the Mede. And I won't go into all of that. I've explored that some in my books, and I have given references, and I may give references at the end of this video concerning Darius the Mede. But if you follow the biblical text well, and the writings of some other ancient authors, it would seem that Darius the Mede's first year was in the Babylonian year of 538 and 537 BC, because they would straddle the 2 years. The Babylonian year started in the springtime, just like the Jewish year, and then it finished at the end of winter, the beginning of spring. And so the year 538 and 537 BC is probably when Daniel received this prophecy, okay, from the angel Gabriel. And Cyrus the Great was actually Cyrus, who was not yet the Great, was in Babylonia at that time. However, Darius the Mede was actually the chief person in the Medo-Persian Empire. If you look at the text here in Daniel, it always speaks about the Medo-Persians. And also in the book of Esther, it talks about this type of thing. And so we know that there was a period of time when the chief person in the empire was Darius the Mede, who was the head of the Median Empire, which actually had ascendancy over the Persians at the very beginning. And then when Darius died, then Cyrus the Great became the only ruler in the empire. And so during the reign of Darius, Daniel receives his prophecy. And then in the reign of Cyrus the Great, there is the declaration in the first year of Cyrus. Now that is well over 500 years before the birth of Jesus. And so you can just get out your little calculator there and see how long before it would have been. And I'll even put a few numbers up on the screen, etc. So we've come to a bit of a deficit with Daniel's numbers. And I was really excited to discover a few years ago how that this prophecy is actually set up. And there is kind of a code here. And I'll put some things up on the screen perhaps to explain this. But Daniel chapter 9 is a kind of like a lot of other parts of the Old Testament. There are codes that are kind of written into the text. Psalm 23 is written in a coded fashion with 26 words in Hebrew, then 3 words, and then 26 more words. Now, the 3 words in the middle are, "Thou art with me," "You are with me," and those are at the very center of the psalm. And on each side there are those 2 sections with 26 words and 26 words. Now, the number 26 has some significance in Hebrew circles because if you take the word Yahweh and you add the 4 letters together there that make up the word without the vowels, just the consonants, and that's the way it's written in Hebrew, before later they added the vowel points, okay? If you take those 4 consonants and you get their numerical value, because each letter has a numerical value, their value comes to the word, to 26, okay? And so there, the name of Yahweh, with that numerical value of 26, is represented there in the text of Psalm 23 by 26 words. And then you have the 3 words, "You are with me," and then the other 26 after that. And so that makes a whole way of approaching the text, which is kind of unique. And it's coded, and it underlines what is really significant in the text. Now, Daniel 9 has also several aspects of it, and there's the number 7 in various places in the text, and also the numbers 13 and 26 are involved, because if you add 13 and 13 together, then you get 26, right? And then the number 7 becomes extremely important in the last 4 verses of chapter 9. If you start in chapter 9, verse 23, and go all the way through to chapter 9, verse 27, all of those words there in Hebrew, there are 100 words in Hebrew in that text. Now, at the very center of that, those 100 words there, from verse 23 to verse 27, the text is has its very center the 2 words 7 and sevens. Okay, and so if you remember in the text, it speaks there about 7 sevens and 62 sevens. Well, what you actually have at the very center of the text in Hebrew are the words sevens and 7. And so the thing is that that also means that of those 100 words, 49 words are before the 7 sevens in the middle, the 2 words there, and 49 words are after the 7 sevens in the middle, okay? And those 2 words there. So do you get it? 100 words, 49 before the 7 and 7s, and then 49 afterwards, and that makes a total of 100 words. And so that means that there are 7 sevens, 49, 7 sevens in the middle, and then 7 sevens afterwards. And yeah, in the text, okay, as far as the way that it's arranged. But so right in the middle of this text, the reason why that there are 7 sevens and then there are 62 sevens, it's because the 7 and the 7s are in the middle in Hebrew. And that means that there is actually something between the 2 main numbers, the first 7 sevens and the 62 sevens. Okay, do you see what I'm talking about? Yeah. And so you're actually adding in another 49, another 7 sevens. And I'll give you some references for this, and you can go and look it up yourself. But I think it's just marvelous. And it really explains why that the numbers are like they are. Okay. Now the thing is, when that you put 49 plus 49 plus 434, the 7 sevens, 7 sevens again, and 62 sevens, when you put all that together, then from the decree of Cyrus, which was probably, in my opinion, in 535 BC, from that decree until the time of the time of the conception and birth of Jesus, you end up having 532 years. Came to see that time in all of its dimensions are involved in this prophecy. You have days, weeks, months, and years, and those are the main ones that we're concerned about as human beings. Those things set the rhythm of our lives, and it was in those terms that God spoke in this prophecy. And here we've just looked at the years. Previously we looked at days and weeks, and then in the next video we'll look at months.